Hello viewers, today for repair I have an old Sony cordless phone, and it needs a general refurbish, but it also needs a repair on the buttons. And I'll plug this in and demonstrate the problem. So some of the buttons work fine, like the channel button. It works, program works. Talk is kind of hard to press. 3 works to a point. That's pretty much it for the numbers. Flash works perfectly fine. Off is also pretty stiff. So I'm going to open this up and see if we can get that fixed. And also just going to do a general cleaning on this because it is in fact quite dirty. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I will open up the handset. I'll start by removing the battery cover and the battery, and I want to do those 2 screws and carefully split it open. That was probably the most painless removal I've ever done on one of these things. Now for the to take the board out, looks like we have just 1 screw here. Take this screw out. Now we should be able to get the whole board out and expose the buttons, which is the goal of this process. And it seems to be not wanting to come. Is there something I'm missing here? Here we go. Okay, let's see, we got something kind of weird going on up here with the way this attaches. So at this point I'm just going to remove this thing inside of here so we can pull this out. It looks like the speaker wires are kind of, looks like the speaker is actually underneath a piece of plastic in here. That gray piece of plastic right there. So I'm going to try to pull that out. Of course, this is not anything near an ideal angle to be working with. Or actually, wait a minute. I think I can just pull this off like that. Yep, that would be much better. Okay, so now we can work with the buttons, and hopefully this can be fixed the way I hope it can. So the procedure that I typically utilize when trying to fix buttons is I use this isopropyl or whatever, this stuff, and I just put it onto a cotton swab. This is for addressing the board first. I'll put this onto a cotton swab, don't pour it over the board, and I'm just going to clean off. Actually, well, before I get started, I want to show you something on the board here. You may not be able to see it on this particular video, but there is like an oily substance. There you can see it. There's a whole bunch of oily junk on the board, which I believe is simply the problem here. You can also see it on the buttons. Oftentimes when you get too much of that on the boards, they seem to not be responding to the button presses. So hopefully that's the issue. So Looks like all my isopropyl alcohol evaporated off this, so I'm going to do this again. And I'm just going to start cleaning this whole board off. And as you can see, there's a lot of junk on here. This may take multiple times to get this to where it's actually clean. Now I'm just going to very quickly clean off this. Not very thoroughly yet. I just want to get this a little bit cleaner, and then I'm going to test it to see if this is in fact the actual source of the problem. I just want to get the bulk of the junk off of here so the board doesn't get too dirty in testing. Alright, that's good enough for now. As you can see, a lot of junk came off that board. So now what I'm going to do is I'll stuff the battery back in here. And I'm going to put this over the numbers here. Let's see if it works. I got to reset the security code on the base here so we can punch in some numbers. Hopefully that'll have done it. And I'll try to push the talk button again and see if we can test the buttons. Yep, now we're live. Okay. Now look at that. Okay, we still have a problem with 7 and 9, but it looks like all the other buttons are working. Alright, fantastic. So now that I know that was in fact the problem and that cleaning this will solve the problem, I'm going to clean this more in depth. Alright, so we have a special case here where 2 of the keys have spoiled on the dialer pad. So I'm going to just do a quick test here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, star 0 pound. Well, okay, see, we just lost star. Okay, it's not quite working right. And neither is really 7. These 2 just aren't working right, but everything else seems to be good. Now, if I take the keypad and let's say I put torque over where 7 and pound were, or star, you can see they work just fine. So it's not an issue of the let's turn this off. It's not an issue of the thing. It's an issue of the dialer pad. And what happens is, the way this works is there's conductive material on these black pots, and the conductive material shorts out these terminals and it registers a button press. Now, the conductive material can wear out over time and it more or less stops working. I started to apply the fix to this one, but what I do to fix this is I take a pencil. This is a relatively heavy duty pencil, and I'm going to just scrape off, not with that screwdriver, with this screwdriver, a very small portion of the graphite onto my spackly thing here. Okay, so there it is. Now, this is conductive material, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a cotton swab here. I'm going to put this junk on the cotton swab, and I'm going to put it on the star key, and this 7 key, since it's also having some problems. And once that's on there, I'm going to take a cleaner end and then wipe around the edges here to get the excess off, and then I'll just kind of smack down the table a bit like that. So you can kind of see the difference. You can see the graphite on those two buttons. So now, let me zoom this out a bit if I can. Okay. Now I'm going to put this back on, and if all goes as planned, which is not always the case, but if all goes as planned, Star and 7 should now be working a lot better. So I'm going to turn it on, and we'll do 1, 4, 7, star. Fully functional again. Okay, so there you have it. That's how we're going to fix the buttons. Now, turn this off. There's like a slick kind of, excuse me, there's like a slick substance here on the back of the board. I don't know what that is, but honestly I don't think it's worth getting the board wet to clean it off, so it's just going to remain for now. So what I'm going to do is, while I have this off, I'm going to clean the front of this. Since this isn't so bad, I'm just not going to get out the toothbrush and everything. I'm just going to wipe this down with a sandy wipe. Just for disinfecting purposes, if that's even legitimate. I don't know how good these things really work, but I imagine it's probably better than nothing. Get all the ear junk out of here. And I am actually going to switch over to the toothbrush just to get the junk out of the earpiece there. Toothbrushes are by far my favorite thing to clean pretty much anything with. They just work really, really well. Alright, so that's good enough for that. Now I'll just quickly go through the buttons here just to get any junk out of there. Although, as previously advertised, this is really not a dirty phone. I want to get all this junk out of here in case there's any whatever on there. Alright, so now I will begin to reassemble the board here. Actually, you know what happened here in the dial is, I'm just going to wipe this off just with a regular cloth, just because there's like some junk in there. Alright, now that everything's clean, I will begin to reassemble this. I'm going to lay the button pad in there first, and then I'll get the antenna, and I'm going to wash this off because it's like discolored. That may just be a deterioration discolor. Oh no, actually it seems like that's a dirt discolor. So that's cool. We'll get this to be nice and white again. Okay, there we have it. Now that's the original color. And I will turn this over, and I'll slip the antenna, wire up the antenna, and I will begin to set this back into where it dwells. Okay, that's pretty good. Just get that off of there. I don't know why that's like that. Well, whatever. Anyways, alright, I'm going to give it a test run here. I'm just going to plug in the battery and Let's test it out. Talk. What happened? Oh, it didn't connect. Alright, let's test again. Talk. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do we have 9? Yes, we do. Alright, so as you can see, all the buttons are working. Let's see if we can get the battery out of there. Okay. Now I'm going to clean the back cover. Now I want to underscore, this is a really ridiculous design. It looks really beat up. And like they used some sort of high gloss plastic on the back. And so it's got all these scratches in it just because they used a shiny material to house the phone, which is really dumb. They should have used like, what was that noise? Well, anyways, they should have used a like a rougher material, so it something's shorting out over there. Oh dear. Well, I think we'll have to get that switch replaced. At least I caught that on video. Anyways. Alright, I'll hook this back up again. Okay, fantastic. Alright. That's good enough. Put this cover back on, which I have to say goes on nice and easy. Or at least it came off. And looks like it went back on pretty easy too. Alright. Darn it. I forgot the screw. Fortunately, that comes off easily. Okay. Put this bag on. Put these screws in. Okay, and now the battery probably doesn't need to be disinfected. Plug this battery back in. I don't know if this is the original battery or not, but it seems like it's holding a charge okay. Of course, I haven't really talked on this because you can't dial anything, but now that I can dial out, I may call somebody on it and see how it works. As you can see, the battery cover is all junked up. Now I guess you can't really see it. I gotta get a new video taker and we can actually see things in the video better. Alright, so there's the handset. Now I'll just do a quick wipe down on the base. I don't know if you're able to see it or not, but the base is pretty yucky, so we'll clean that off. Alright, one last thing I'm going to do before I put this phone into service is I'm going to clean the charging contacts. So once again we have the cotton swab with isopropyl alcohol, and you just go through like this and just wipe them off. This is a good thing to do on a regular basis just so the battery always gets a good charge. And alright, so now I'm not sure why it made this strange sound, but we will give it one final test run. The battery's running out of charge in my camera. Fantastic. Talk. Alright, so all the buttons work. It's ready to go. So there you have it. That's how you repair buttons on a cordless phone that has stopped working. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video and my little freak show with the lights not working. And comment, subscribe, and out.